Picture the people who seem unstoppable, the ones who face rejection after rejection and still keep going, who turn failure into fuel, who achieve things that look impossible from the outside. You've probably asked yourself, what's different about them? Why can they push through when most people quit? The answer isn't talent, luck, or superhuman willpower. It's psychology, specific mental patterns, habits of thought, and inner frameworks that turn ordinary people into unstoppable forces. This full audiobook reveals the exact psychology of unstoppable people, the mindsets, beliefs, emotional resilience strategies, and daily mental rituals that separate those who dream from those who dominate. You'll discover the unbreakable identity shift that makes giving up impossible, how to rewire your brain to see obstacles as fuel instead of roadblocks, the hidden emotional triggers that keep most people stuck, and how to neutralize them, daily practices that build momentum even on the worst days, the long game thinking that turns short-term pain into lifelong victory. If you're tired of starting strong and fading, of letting fear, doubt, or setback stop you again and again, and you're finally ready to build the unbreakable psychology that makes you unstoppable, stay with me. This isn't fluffy motivation. This is the raw mental architecture used by elite performers, entrepreneurs, athletes, and everyday people who refuse to stay average. Your unstoppable version is already inside you. Press play, silence distractions, and let's unlock it, starting right now. Chapter 1. The Unstoppable Identity. How they see themselves differently from everyone else. Welcome to Chapter 1 of the Psychology of Unstoppable People. If you're listening right now, it's because you've felt it, that moment when everyone else gives up, but a small voice inside you refuses to quit. Or maybe you've watched someone else push through obstacles that would have broken most people, and you ask the same question millions do. How do they do it? What's inside their head that lets them keep going when the rest of us stop? The answer is not talent, not luck, not even raw willpower in the conventional sense. The difference lies in one core psychological reality. Unstoppable people have a radically different identity. They don't just do unstoppable things. They are unstoppable people. Their self-concept, their internal story about who they are, is built on beliefs so deeply embedded that quitting or settling becomes psychologically incompatible with their sense of self. This chapter is about decoding that identity. We'll break down the exact beliefs, self-narratives, and mental models that form the foundation of an unstoppable psychology, and how you can start installing them today. This isn't fluffy inspiration. It's a blueprint for rewiring the way you see yourself, so that unstoppable action becomes the only logical outcome. Let's start with the fundamental truth most people miss. Behavior follows identity. Almost every major change in human behavior, quitting smoking, losing 100 pounds, building a business from zero, surviving repeated failure, begins not with new habits, but with a new story about who you are. Psychologists call this self-concept or identity shift. When your identity changes, your actions change automatically because you can't act in ways that contradict who you believe you are. Unstoppable people operate from a handful of core identity beliefs that the average person does not hold, or holds only weakly. Here are the 5 most powerful ones, with real-world examples and the exact mental language they use. Identity belief number 1. I'm the kind of person who never quits on what truly matters. This is the cornerstone. Unstoppable people don't say, I won't quit. They say, quitting isn't who I am. The difference is massive. The first is a decision. The second is an identity. When failure hits, rejection stings, or fatigue sets in, they don't negotiate with themselves about whether to continue. They don't have to. Giving up would mean betraying their own self-image, and that pain is greater than any external pain. Real example, J.K. Rowling received 12 publisher rejections for Harry Potter. Most people would have concluded, I'm not meant to be a writer. Rowling's internal narrative was different. I am a writer. Therefore, I keep writing until someone sees it. That identity made quitting impossible. How to force this belief? Rewrite your self-talk. Replace "I hope I don't quit" with "I'm the kind of person who never quits on what matters." Create an unbreakable commitment. Choose one meaningful goal right now and declare publicly, to a friend, journal, or social post, "I am someone who finishes what I start. I will complete goal no matter what." When temptation to quit arises, ask, "Would the unstoppable version of me do this?" Then act accordingly. Identity belief number 2. Obstacles are proof I'm on the right path. Most people see difficulty as evidence they're going the wrong way. Unstoppable people see it as confirmation they're going the right way. They've internalized that real progress lives on the other side of resistance, that comfort is the enemy of growth. Mental model. The bigger the obstacle, the bigger the payoff. They don't look for easy paths. They look for hard ones that others avoid, because they know value accumulates where competition is low. Real example. Elon Musk has said repeatedly that if a project isn't hard enough to make him question his sanity at least once, it's probably not ambitious enough. SpaceX's early rocket failures were not proof it won't work. They were proof we're pushing the boundary. How to install this? Reframe every setback. When something goes wrong, say aloud, "This difficulty means I'm on the path to something big." Seek voluntary discomfort daily. Cold showers, hard workouts, difficult conversations. Train your brain that resistance equals progress. Keep a proof log. Write down every obstacle you've overcome. Review it when doubt creeps in. Identity belief number 3. I am responsible for everything that happens to me. Unstoppable people take extreme ownership, not just of their actions, but of their interpretations, emotions, and responses to external events. They refuse to play the victim, even when circumstances are genuinely unfair. This belief eliminates blame, excuses, and waiting for rescue. It creates agency. If I'm responsible, then I can change it. Real example. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that even in the camps, he realized he could choose his attitude. That single belief kept him alive psychologically and later became the foundation of logotherapy. How to force it? Eliminate victim language. Catch phrases like "they made me," "it's not fair," "I can't because," and replace with "I choose to." What can I do now? Daily ownership ritual. At day's end, ask, what did I create today? Where did I give my power away? How will I take it back tomorrow? When blame arises, interrupt it. They may have done X, but my response is 100% mine. Identity belief number 4. Failure is data, not defeat. Unstoppable people don't fear failure. They fear not learning from it. Failure is information, tuition, feedback. It's not a verdict on their worth. Mental shift. Every failure brings me closer to mastery. They collect failures like trophies, dissecting them for lessons instead of hiding from them. Real example. Thomas Edison's famous line about 10,000 ways that didn't work to invent the light bulb. He didn't see 10,000 failures. He saw 10,000 data points. How to install? Create a failure resume. List every major setback and one lesson from each. After any failure, do a 5-minute autopsy. What worked? What didn't? What will I do differently? Celebrate intelligent failure. When you try something bold and it doesn't work, reward yourself. Coffee, walk, journal entry to reinforce the behavior. Identity belief number 5. I am built for the long game. Unstoppable people think in decades, not days. They sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term dominance. They understand compounding in skills, reputation, relationships, wealth, takes time, and consistency. Mental model. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Real example. Warren Buffett started investing young and let compounding work for 70-plus years. He didn't chase quick wins. He built an identity as a patient, long-term player. Chapter 2, Emotional Resilience. How unstoppable people stay calm and powerful when everything goes wrong. Welcome to Chapter 2 of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. In the last chapter, we installed the foundational identity, the deep belief that you are the kind of person who never quits on what matters, who sees obstacles as proof of progress, who takes full responsibility, treats failure as data, and plays the long game. That identity is the root system. But roots alone don't survive storms. To thrive through real adversity, betrayal, financial ruin, public humiliation, chronic rejection, health crises, or just the slow grind of daily disappointment, you need something else: emotional resilience. Unstoppable people don't avoid pain. They feel it fully, sometimes more intensely than others, but they refuse to let it hijack their direction. They've built an internal emotional architecture that lets them experience the full spectrum of human feeling: fear, anger, grief, doubt, without being paralyzed or derailed by it. This chapter is about decoding and installing that architecture. We'll cover the 4 core pillars of emotional resilience that unstoppable people master: emotional ownership, reframing pain, physiological regulation, and meaning-making. Each one comes with real stories, psychological mechanisms, and precise mental and physical practices you can start forcing today. Pillar 1, emotional ownership. Feel it all, but never let it own you. Most people either suppress emotions, which builds pressure until it explodes, or let emotions own them. Rage quits, despair paralysis, fear avoidance. Unstoppable people do neither. They practice radical emotional ownership. They name, feel, and process every emotion completely, then decide what action, if any, it gets to dictate. Key mindset shift. Emotions are data, not destiny. Real example: Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. He felt rage, despair, loneliness, but he never let those emotions dictate his identity or long-term strategy. He used them as information. This anger tells me injustice exists. This loneliness tells me connection matters. Then he channeled them into disciplined study, negotiation preparation, and inner growth. When he walked out, he was not bitter. He was clear, calm, and ready to lead. How to force this? Name it to tame it. When a strong emotion hits, pause and label it out loud or in writing. This is fear talking. This is shame. This is grief. Research shows labeling reduces amygdala activation by up to 50%. Feel it fully for 90 seconds. Set a timer. Allow the physical sensation, tight chest, racing heart, heat in face, to exist without fighting or feeding it. Emotions peak and subside in about 90 seconds if you don't resist or ruminate. Decide the action. After the wave passes, ask, what does the unstoppable version of me do now? Then act from identity, not emotion. Daily practice. 3 times per day, morning, midday, evening. Do a 2-minute emotional check-in. What am I feeling right now? What do I feel in my body? What information is it giving me? What would unstoppable me choose next? Pillar 2, reframing pain turns suffering into strategy. Unstoppable people don't pretend pain doesn't hurt. They reframe it so it becomes useful. They've trained their minds to ask better questions when adversity strikes. Common unstoppable reframes. Instead of, why is this happening to me? What is this trying to teach me? Instead of, this is unfair. This is training for something bigger. Instead of, I can't handle this. This is the exact difficulty I was built to overcome. Instead of, I failed, I collected valuable data. Real example: Sarah Blakely, Spanx founder, faced hundreds of rejections from manufacturers. She didn't frame it as they don't believe in me. She framed it as they're teaching me persistence and creative problem solving. She turned every no into a lesson, eventually cutting the feet off pantyhose herself to prototype. That reframing turned pain into product. How to force reframing. Create a reframe trigger. Whenever pain hits, rejection email, argument, setback, immediately write or say 3 reframe questions. What skill is this forcing me to develop? How will this make me stronger in 12 months? What would I advise my best friend in this situation? Keep a pain to power journal. Every week, log one adversity and the reframe that turned it into advantage. Pillar 3. Physiological regulation. Master the body to master the mind. Emotions live in the body first. Unstoppable people know how to interrupt the physiological fear/anger/shame loop before it takes over cognition. Core techniques. 4-7-8 breathing. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out. Reduces cortisol in under 60 seconds. Cold exposure. 30 to 60 seconds cold shower or ice bath daily. Builds tolerance to discomfort and resets nervous system. Progressive muscle relaxation. Tense and release muscle groups during high-stress moments. Grounding. 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Name 5 things you see, 4 you touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, 1 you taste, pulls you out of emotional spiral. Posture reset. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up for 2 minutes. Increases testosterone. Decreases cortisol. Amy Cuddy Power Posing Research. Daily drill. Pick one physiological tool and use it at the first sign of emotional hijack. Track how quickly it returns you to clear thinking. Pillar 4. Meaning making. Turn pain into purpose. The final layer. Unstoppable people extract transcendent meaning from suffering. They ask, how does this serve something bigger than me? Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Real example. Oprah Winfrey endured abuse, poverty, racism, but reframed it as my pain is preparation to help others heal theirs. That meaning turned personal tragedy into a media empire built on empowerment. How to force meaning. Daily purpose anchor. Start each day with 1 sentence. Today my struggle serves bigger purpose. Family freedom, helping others, mastery, legacy, suffering audit. Monthly, list current pains/challenges and write 1 way each can contribute to your larger mission. Gratitude for hardship. Once a week, thank 1 past difficulty for what it taught you. Your Chapter 2 Resilience Installation Assignment. Start today. Choose 1 pillar to anchor this week. Ownership, reframing, physiological meaning. Create a 60-second ritual, e.g. for 7-8 breathing plus reframe question plus purpose statement. Do it 3 times daily. Morning, midday, evening. Set phone reminders. When strong emotion hits today, use the ritual before reacting. 8 days end. Journal. What emotion did I own today? How did I reframe it? What physiological tool worked? What meaning did I extract? Emotional resilience is not the absence of pain. It's the mastery of it. Unstoppable people don't feel less. They process better, recover faster, and convert suffering into strength. You're no longer at the mercy of your emotions. You're the one who feels deeply and acts deliberately. Chapter 3. The Momentum Engine. Daily micro-habits and identity reinforcements that create unstoppable forward motion. Welcome to Chapter 3 of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. You now have the foundational identity, the internal story that makes quitting incompatible with who you are, and the emotional resilience to feel pain deeply without letting it derail you. These are the roots and the stormproof structure. But roots and structure alone don't move you forward. To become truly unstoppable, you need consistent forward motion, the kind that compounds day after day, even when motivation is 0, energy is low, and life throws curveballs. Unstoppable people don't rely on inspiration. They rely on momentum. Momentum is the psychological force that makes starting easier tomorrow because you started today, that makes progress feel inevitable because small wins stack into visible evidence of growth. This chapter is about building and protecting that momentum engine through daily micro habits, identity reinforcements, and systems that keep the flywheel spinning no matter what. We'll break it down into 5 interlocking components: micro commitments, daily proof rituals, identity anchors, momentum safeguards, and the compounding loop. Each one is designed to be small enough to force even on your worst days, yet powerful enough to create massive long-term acceleration. Component 1. Micro commitments, the never zero rule. Unstoppable people never allow 0 days on what matters most. They use micro commitments, tiny, non-negotiable actions so small that skipping them feels ridiculous, but doing them keeps the chain alive. Examples: write 1 sentence toward your book every day, even if it's terrible. Do 1 push-up when motivation for the gym is 0. Read 1 page of your learning book before bed. Send 1 outreach message toward your goal. The power is in the never zero identity. I am the kind of person who never misses a day on what matters. Once that identity locks in, breaking the chain creates more emotional pain than doing the tiny action. How to force it? Choose 1 to 3 micro commitments tied to your biggest goals, e.g., skill building, networking, health. Make them stupidly small, so small that "I don't have time" is impossible. Track with a simple chain calendar. Mark an X every day completed. Jerry Seinfeld's famous "don't break the chain" method. When resistance hits, ask, "Can I do the micro version right now?" Then do it immediately. No negotiation. Real example: a broke entrepreneur committed to 1 sales message per day during his lowest point. Some days it was a 10-second DM. He never missed. Within 18 months, those micro actions turned into a 7-figure business because momentum built proof, proof built confidence, confidence built bigger actions. Component 2. Daily proof rituals. Collect evidence that you are unstoppable. Identity changes fastest when backed by evidence. Unstoppable people run daily proof rituals, short reviews that force their brain to notice progress, no matter how small. Ritual structure: 5 to 10 minutes at end of day. Win log: write 1 to 3 things you did today that moved you closer to unstoppable, even micro wins. Sent a message, read the page, said no to distraction. Identity affirmation: read your unstoppable identity statement aloud. Then add today's evidence, specific action, tomorrow's micro promise. Write 1 tiny commitment for tomorrow. Gratitude anchor: end with 1 sentence of thanks for the progress, however small. Why it works: the brain is wired to believe stories supported by evidence. Daily proof rewires your self-concept faster than motivation speeches. Real example: David Goggins, ultra athlete, keeps a daily accountability mirror, photos of his past self and current goals taped to it. Every day he looks and asks, "Did I live up to who I said I'd be?" The visual proof keeps him brutally honest. How to force it? Use a dedicated notebook or app. Day 1, Notion, that do it every night before bed. No exceptions. Review weekly. Read all wins aloud. The cumulative evidence becomes undeniable. Component 3. Identity anchors. Daily reminders that reinforce who you are. Unstoppable people surround themselves with constant reminders of their upgraded identity. Visual, auditory, verbal cues that keep the new self-concept top of mind. Examples: phone wallpaper, photo of your future self, or a quote, "I never quit on what matters." Morning mirror talk: 30 seconds looking yourself in the eyes, saying your identity statements. Physical anchor: wear a specific bracelet, ring, or tattoo that symbolizes unstoppable. Audio loop: record your identity affirmations and play them during commute or before bed. Environment cues: sticky notes on laptop, mirror, fridge with key beliefs. How to force it? Create 1 visual anchor today: wallpaper, note, object that do a 30-second identity anchor ritual every morning. Aloud, eye contact. When doubt creeps in during the day, touch your anchor object and repeat one core belief. Component 4. Momentum safeguards protect the chain at all costs. Momentum dies fastest from broken streaks. Unstoppable people build safeguards to make skipping feel more painful than doing. Safeguards. Public streak. Share your daily micro-commitment with an accountability partner or online group. Pain penalty. If you miss a day, donate $50 to a cause you dislike or do 100 push-ups. Make failure expensive. Pre-commit triggers. Set phone reminders at high-risk times. Evening slump. With messages like unstoppable people don't skip. Recovery rule. If you miss one day, double the micro-commitment the next day. 2 sentences instead of 1. To rebuild momentum fast. 0 day forgiveness ritual. If you do miss, immediately do a 1-minute reset. Name the emotion, reframe it, recommit aloud. No self-shame. Component 5. The compounding loop. Turn micro into macro. The real power emerges when micro habits compound. Day 1 to 30. Build consistency. Month 2 to 6. Small wins create proof. Confidence rises. Actions grow slightly bigger. Year 1 plus. Identity is locked. Momentum is automatic. Results accelerate exponentially. Real example. A woman who wanted to write a book started with 1 sentence per day. After 30 days, it became 1 paragraph. After 90 days, 1 page. After a year, the book was finished, all from never allowing 0 days. Your Chapter 3 Momentum Engine assignment. Start building today. Choose 1 to 3 micro-commitments tied to your biggest goal. Keep them tiny. Create a chain tracker, calendar, app, wall chart, and mark today's X. Set up 1 daily proof ritual, 5-minute end-of-day review. Install 1 identity anchor, wallpaper, mirror talk object. Add 1 momentum safeguard, accountability partner, or pain penalty. Commit. I never go 0 days on what matters, starting now. Momentum is not magic. It's engineered through small, non-negotiable actions that prove to your brain every day, this is who I am. Once momentum builds, stopping feels harder than continuing. You're no longer waiting for motivation. Chapter 4. Obstacle Conversion. How unstoppable people turn every setback, criticism, and limitation into fuel. Welcome to Chapter 4 of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. By now, you have the unbreakable identity foundation and the emotional resilience to feel pain without letting it control you. You've also installed the momentum engine, micro-commitments, daily proof, identity anchors, and safeguards that keep forward motion alive even on zero motivation days. These systems make progress consistent. But consistency alone doesn't make you unstoppable. What separates truly elite performers is their ability to convert obstacles into acceleration. Most people see setbacks as evidence they should slow down, stop, or switch paths. Unstoppable people see them as raw material, fuel, data, training, leverage. They have mastered obstacle conversion, the psychological process of taking every difficulty, criticism, rejection, limitation, or failure and deliberately transforming it into something that makes them stronger, wiser, faster, or more determined than if the path had been smooth. This chapter breaks down the exact mental models, reframing techniques, emotional alchemies, and action protocols unstoppable people use to convert obstacles. These are not feel-good platitudes. They are battle-tested cognitive tools that require discipline to apply, especially in the moment when emotion is high and logic is low. We'll go deep into each conversion type with real stories, psychological explanations, and step-by-step drills you can force into your life starting today. Conversion Type 1. Rejection, proof of courage. Unstoppable people don't interpret rejection as, I'm not good enough. They interpret it as, I had the courage to try something most people won't. Rejection becomes evidence of bravery, not inadequacy. Mental model. Every no is a step closer to the yes that matters. And proof I'm playing a bigger game. Real example. Jack Ma was rejected from over 30 jobs, including KFC, Harvard 10 times, and countless investors for Alibaba in the early days. Instead of concluding, "I'm a failure," he said, "I'm the kind of person who keeps swinging when others quit." Each rejection became a badge. I'm still in the arena. That identity turned pain into persistence. Alibaba became one of the world's largest companies. How to force this conversion? Rejection ritual. After any rejection, job, pitch, date, feedback, immediately do 3 steps. Say aloud. This rejection proves I had the courage to ask/act/try. Write 1 sentence. What this proves about my character: courage, persistence, boldness. Take 1 small forward action within 60 minutes. Another outreach, revised pitch, new attempt. Rejection collection. Keep a running list titled Proof of Courage. Add every rejection with date and what it proves. Review monthly. The longer the list, the stronger your identity as someone who dares. Conversion type 2. Criticism, free coaching. Criticism stings because most people hear it as attack. Unstoppable people hear it as free, high-quality feedback from someone willing to spend energy pointing out blind spots. Mental model. Criticism is a gift, even if poorly wrapped. I take the value and discard the wrapper. Real example. Elon Musk reads every critical tweet and internal memo with curiosity, not defensiveness. He has said, "If someone takes time to criticize me, they're giving me information I didn't have." That's valuable. He turned early Tesla criticisms into product improvements that helped the company survive near bankruptcy. How to force this? Criticism filter. When criticism arrives, constructive or harsh, immediately ask 3 questions. Is there even 1% truth here I can use? What skill or blind spot is this highlighting? How can I improve because of this feedback? Thank you protocol. Respond, even internally. Thank you for the feedback. It's helping me get better. This neutralizes emotional sting and reinforces growth identity. Criticism vault. Keep a private doc of useful criticisms. Review quarterly and turn the best ones into specific improvement actions. Conversion type 3. Limitation, creative constraint. Unstoppable people don't complain about constraints, time, money, resources, skills. They treat them as creative challenges that force innovation. Mental model. Limitations are the mother of breakthroughs. Easy paths produce average results. Hard constraints produce genius. Real example. During early SpaceX days, Elon Musk had almost no money for rocket testing. Instead of waiting for funding, he forced innovation with what he had: smaller scale tests, rapid iteration, ruthless cost-cutting. Those constraints birthed reusable rocket technology that changed the industry. How to force this? Constraint reframing. When you hit a limitation, say aloud, "This constraint is forcing me to get creative." What genius solution does it demand? Force creativity drill. Once a week, pick 1 current limitation and brainstorm 10 unconventional ways around it. No judgment. Pick the most promising and test 1. Scarcity simulation. Occasionally impose artificial limits, e.g., finish this project with half the usual time/budget, to train your brain that constraints equals opportunity. Conversion type 4. Failure, accelerated learning. Unstoppable people don't mourn failure. They dissect it like surgeons. Failure is the fastest teacher. They mine it ruthlessly for lessons. Mental model. Failure is tuition. The more I pay, the more I learn, the less I pay next time. Real example. Airbnb's founders sold cereal boxes to survive early rejection. Each failure taught them about fundraising, pitching, and resilience. They turned "we're broke" into "we're resourceful," a mindset that carried them through later near collapses. How to force this? Failure autopsy protocol. Do within 24 hours of any setback what actually happened. Facts only. What did I learn about myself, the market, the process? What 1 change will make success more likely next time? How does this failure make future me stronger? Failure trophy. After major failures, do something symbolic. Buy a small item. Write a lesson certificate. To celebrate the learning. Pre-mortem habit. Before big risks, ask, if this fails, why will it have failed? Then prevent those reasons. Conversion type 5. Pain, purpose fuel. The ultimate conversion. Turning raw suffering into deeper purpose. Unstoppable people don't just endure pain. They let it refine their mission. Mental model. My pain is preparation for helping others avoid or overcome the same pain. Real example. Malala Yousafzai survived an assassination attempt for advocating girls' education. Instead of bitterness, she converted the trauma into global purpose. One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Her pain became fuel for a movement. Chapter 5. The Vision Engine. Creating crystal clear, emotionally charged futures that pull you forward. Welcome to Chapter 5 of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. You now have the unbreakable identity that makes quitting incompatible with who you are, the emotional resilience to feel pain without letting it control you, the momentum engine of micro-habits and daily proof that keeps forward motion alive even on zero motivation days, and the obstacle conversion system that turns every setback into acceleration. These form a powerful machine, but a machine without direction is just motion. It can spin in circles or drift aimlessly. To become truly unstoppable, you need a pull, a vivid, emotionally charged vision of the future so compelling that it drags you forward through resistance, doubt, fatigue, and chaos. Unstoppable people don't push themselves with discipline alone. They are pulled by a future self so real, so desirable, and so emotionally alive that the present self has no choice but to follow. This chapter is about building and maintaining that vision engine, the psychological system that turns abstract goals into visceral, magnetic futures that make quitting feel like betrayal of your own destiny. We'll cover the 5 core components of an unstoppable vision: clarity of destination, emotional intensity, sensory vividness, identity alignment, and daily activation. Each one includes real stories, neuroscience insights, and precise mental and practical exercises you can force into your routine starting today. Component 1. Clarity of destination. Make the target impossible to miss. Unstoppable people don't have vague goals. I want to be successful. They have razor-sharp, specific visions of exactly what success looks and feels like. Vague futures produce vague effort. Crystal clear futures produce relentless action. Key principles. Specificity beats motivation. Detail beats desire. The brain responds more strongly to concrete images than abstract wishes. Outcome plus process vision. See both the end state, what life looks like when you've arrived, and the path, who you become along the way. Time horizons. Create layered visions. 90-day sprint, 1-year milestone, 3 to 5-year transformation, 10-year legacy. Real example. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just say, I want to be a bodybuilder. At 15, he had a clear vision. Win Mr. Universe. Move to America, become the highest paid actor, marry a Kennedy. He visualized the stage, the trophy, the Hollywood sign, the wedding, every detail. That clarity pulled him through poverty, language barriers, and endless rejection. How to force clarity. Vision document. Write a 1 to 2-page future self letter dated 5 to 10 years from now. Describe in vivid detail where you live, who's with you, what your daily life feels like, what you've achieved, how much impact you've made, what you own, how you feel waking up. Make it measurable. Include specific milestones: net worth, books published, people helped, skills mastered. Review ritual. Read the document aloud every morning for 2 minutes. Feel the emotions rise. Component 2. Emotional intensity. Make the future feel real now. Clarity without emotion is just a list. Unstoppable people infuse their vision with intense positive emotion, excitement, pride, gratitude, love, relief, so the future feels alive in the present. Neuroscience insight. The brain's reticular activating system, RAS, filters reality based on emotional salience. When your vision is emotionally charged, you start noticing opportunities, people, and ideas that align with it, things you previously ignored. Real example, Oprah Winfrey visualized herself as a talk show host long before it happened. She didn't just see the set. She felt the audience's energy, the thrill of impact, the pride of using her platform for good. That emotional intensity kept her pushing through early rejections and low-paying jobs. How to force emotional intensity. Emotional anchoring. After reading your vision document, close your eyes for 60 seconds and feel the emotions. Heart racing with excitement, chest expanding with pride, tears of gratitude, calm relief of security. Future self conversation. Once a week, speak aloud to your future self. Hey, future name, tell me how good it feels to have achievement. Let the emotion flow. Sensory triggers. Pair your vision reading with a physical cue, deep breath, fist pump, specific music, to condition the emotion to arise instantly. Component 3. Sensory vividness. Make the future multisensory. The brain doesn't distinguish strongly between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. Mirror neurons. Visualization studies. Unstoppable people make their vision multisensory to trick the brain into treating the future as present reality. Technique. 5 senses immersion. See colors, details, expressions on faces here. Sounds of success, applause, loved ones' voices, cash register, silence of peace. Feel textures, leather of new car seat, handshake of a deal, warmth of embrace. Smell, sense of achievement, new office, ocean air, fresh ink on book. Taste, taste of celebration, champagne, favorite meal. Real example, Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered when he was broke. He dated it years in the future and carried it in his wallet. Every day, he visualized cashing it, felt the paper, heard the bank teller, smelled the money, tasted victory. That vividness pulled him through poverty to stardom. How to force it? Daily 5-minute immersion. Close eyes, read vision highlights, then cycle through all 5 senses for each major element. Vision board with senses. Add not just images, but scents, candle, sounds, playlist, textures, fabric swatches. Nightly rehearsal. Before sleep, replay the vision in full sensory detail. Brain consolidates it during REM. Component 4. Identity alignment. Make the vision who you already are. Unstoppable visions aren't distant fantasies. They're extensions of current identity. The unstoppable self is already living the future in small ways today. Mental shift. This isn't who I'm becoming. This is who I already am, expanding. How to force alignment. Identity bridging. For each vision element, write one small way you're already that person today, e.g., I'm already disciplined. I never miss micro-commitments. Act as if, dress, speak, walk. Decide like the future self in small moments. Stand taller, speak with certainty. The future self mentoring. When stuck, ask, what would the 10-year unstoppable me do right now? Then do it. Component 5. Daily activation. Keep the pull alive every day. Visions fade without daily reinforcement. Unstoppable people activate the engine constantly. Daily activation loop, 10 to 15 minutes total. Morning, read vision document plus 2-minute sensory immersion plus identity anchor statement. Midday, 60-second future self check-in. Touch anchor object, feel one emotion. Evening, gratitude plus proof ritual from Chapter 3, tied to vision progress. Chapter 6, the legacy mindset. Thinking beyond yourself to create impact that outlives you. Welcome to Chapter 6 of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. You've now built a formidable internal engine, an unbreakable identity that refuses to quit, emotional resilience that turns pain into power, a momentum system of micro-habits and daily proof that keeps you moving forward even on empty days, obstacle conversion mastery that accelerates you through setbacks, and a vivid, emotionally charged vision that pulls you toward a future worth fighting for. These 5 pillars make you formidable. But formidable people can still be forgotten. Truly unstoppable people become legendary, not through ego or fame, but through legacy, impact that ripples outward, changes lives long after they're gone, and gives their daily grind transcendent meaning. This chapter is about shifting from a self-focused, unstoppable mindset to a legacy mindset, the psychological framework that lets you play at a level where your work, your example, and your contribution endure. Unstoppable people who last don't just achieve, they plant seeds. They think in generations, not lifetimes. They understand that the deepest motivation isn't personal success. It's becoming someone whose absence would leave a hole in the world. We'll cover the 4 layers of a legacy mindset: purpose beyond self, contribution compounding, example as leadership, and mortality awareness. Each layer includes real stories of people who live this way, the psychological mechanisms that make it sustainable, and precise mental and daily practices you can force into your life starting now. Layer 1. Purpose beyond self. Anchor your drive in something larger. Unstoppable people eventually realize that me-focused goals, money, status, comfort, lose their pull over time. What keeps the fire burning for decades is a purpose that transcends the individual, helping others, advancing knowledge, protecting something sacred, building something enduring. Psychological insight. Viktor Frankl's logotherapy shows that meaning, not pleasure or power, is the strongest human motivator. When your daily effort serves something bigger than you, pain becomes sacrifice, setbacks become tests of commitment, and success becomes shared victory. Real example. Nelson Mandela didn't endure 27 years in prison just to become president. He endured because he believed in a free, equal South Africa, a purpose larger than his own life. That transcendent why turned torture into training, isolation into reflection, and personal suffering into collective liberation. How to force this layer? Write your beyond self purpose statement. Answer: if I could solve one problem for humanity / my community / my family line that outlives me, what would it be? Make it specific and emotional. Daily purpose tether. Every morning, after your identity anchor, read your purpose statement aloud and ask, how can today's actions serve this bigger thing? Purpose filter. Before any major decision or deep work block, ask, does this move the needle on my transcendent purpose? If not, shrink or eliminate it. Layer 2. Contribution compounding. Build assets that keep giving. Unstoppable people don't just consume impact. They create compounding assets. Books, businesses, systems, teachings, organizations, code, art, or knowledge that generate value long after the effort ends. Mental model. I want my work to pay dividends when I'm sleeping, retired, or gone. Real example. Ray Dalio built Bridgewater Associates, but his true legacy is principles, the codified decision-making system he shared freely. That book and the app, videos, and culture it spawned continues to influence millions of leaders and companies years later. The compounding effect turned one man's thinking into a global operating system. How to force contribution compounding. Create one legacy asset this year. Choose something that can live independently. Write a book/ebook, build an open source tool, record teachable content, start a scholarship fund, mentor 3 people who will mentor others, teach what you learn. After every major win or lesson, create one piece of shareable content, thread, video, blog post template that helps others avoid your mistakes or copy your breakthroughs. Point 10 times rule. Ask, how can I turn this personal success into something that helps 10 times more people? Then take one small step toward that scale. Layer 3. Example as leadership. Become the model others follow. The most powerful legacy isn't what you say, it's who you become in front of others. Unstoppable people understand that their daily behavior is a living curriculum. Their consistency, integrity, resilience, and generosity teach louder than any speech. Mental shift. I lead by example first, words second. Real example. Kobe Bryant's Mamba mentality wasn't a slogan, it was his life. Teammates, opponents, and fans watched him outwork everyone, study obsessively, and stay composed under pressure. That visible example inspired a generation of athletes to adopt the same relentless standard. How to force example leadership. Public identity audit. Ask trusted friends/family. What do you see when you watch how I handle hard things? Use the feedback to reinforce or adjust. Daily modeling moments. Choose one behavior to demonstrate today: patience and frustration, generosity and scarcity, persistence after failure, and do it visibly. Mentor loop. Every quarter, mentor 1 to 3 people. Teaching forces you to live your principles at a higher standard. Layer 4. Mortality awareness. Use the end to intensify the now. Unstoppable people keep death in their peripheral vision, not to create fear, but to create urgency and clarity. Knowing life sharpens priorities and strips away trivial pursuits. Mental model. If this were my last year, would I still be doing this? If not, why am I doing it now? Real example. Steve Jobs said in his Stanford speech, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." That awareness kept him focused on work that mattered, even when cancer arrived. How to force mortality awareness. Memento mori ritual. Place a small reminder, skull image, you will die note, hourglass, on your desk. Glance at it daily and ask, is today worthy of being one of my last? Obituary exercise. Once a year, write 2 versions. The obituary you'd get if you died today, current path, and the one you want, unstoppable path. Let the gap pull you. Last year question. When stuck or tempted by shallow distractions, ask, if this were my last year, would I spend this hour on this? Chapter 7. The Joy Engine. How unstoppable people stay grateful, playful, and emotionally alive through the grind. Welcome to Chapter 7 of the Psychology of Unstoppable People. You've built the full machine, an identity that refuses to quit, emotional resilience that turns pain into power, a momentum engine of micro-habits and daily proof, obstacle conversion mastery that accelerates through setbacks, a vivid vision that pulls you forward, and a legacy mindset that gives your effort transcendent meaning. This is elite-level psychology. But there is one final and often overlooked piece that separates those who burn out from those who thrive for decades: joy. Unstoppable people don't just endure the journey, they enjoy it. They maintain genuine gratitude, playfulness, lightness, and emotional aliveness even during the hardest stretches. They understand that joy is not a reward for success. It's fuel for sustained high performance. Without it, discipline becomes drudgery, vision becomes obsession, legacy becomes burden, and the whole system eventually collapses under resentment or exhaustion. This chapter is about building and protecting the joy engine, the psychological and practical systems that keep unstoppable people emotionally vibrant, grateful, and human while pursuing extreme goals. We'll cover the 4 core pillars: gratitude amplification, deliberate play, emotional range mastery, and joy as a discipline. Each pillar includes real stories, science-backed mechanisms, and daily practices you can force into your life to make joy a non-negotiable part of your unstoppable identity. Pillar 1. Gratitude amplification. Turn appreciation into rocket fuel. Gratitude isn't soft, it's strategic. Unstoppable people don't wait to feel thankful after success. They cultivate gratitude during the struggle. This shifts their nervous system from threat mode, cortisol, anxiety, to growth mode, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, making hard work feel meaningful instead of punishing. Psychological mechanism. Regular gratitude practice increases baseline dopamine, motivation/reward, and reduces amygdala reactivity, fear/stress. Studies show people who keep daily gratitude logs experience higher resilience, lower burnout, and better long-term performance. Real example. Oprah Winfrey has kept a gratitude journal since her early 20s. 5 things she's thankful for every night, no matter how tough the day. During her rise from poverty and abuse, she wrote things like, "I'm grateful for the ability to read. I'm grateful for my voice. I'm grateful for the next breath." That daily practice kept her emotionally buoyant and focused on abundance, even when circumstances screamed scarcity. How to force gratitude amplification. Triple-layer gratitude ritual. 5 minutes morning and night past. One thing from yesterday you're thankful for, even small. Present. One thing right now, health, breath, opportunity. Future. One thing you're grateful for in advance. I'm thankful for the breakthrough coming. Adversity gratitude. When pain hits, immediately name one thing the hardship is teaching you or how it's making you stronger. Say it aloud. I'm grateful for this struggle because gratitude trigger. Set phone reminders 3 times daily with the prompt. What am I thankful for right now? Answer instantly. No overthinking. Pillar 2. Deliberate play. Keep the inner child alive in pursuit of mastery. Unstoppable people don't grind 24/7. They play deliberately. Play restores creativity, reduces cortisol, increases problem-solving flexibility, and prevents burnout. They treat fun and curiosity as performance enhancers, not distractions. Mental model. Mastery without play is slavery. Play without mastery is childishness. Combine them, and you get genius. Real example. Richard Feynman, Nobel physicist, played bongos, cracked safes, drew nudes, and chased beauty in math for fun. He said, "Study hard what interests you the most in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible." That playful curiosity led to breakthroughs others missed because they treated physics as drudgery. How to force deliberate play. Daily play microdose. 15 to 30 minutes of non-oriented fun, music, doodling, dancing, puzzles, games, silly conversations. Play infusion. Turn hard tasks playful. Gamify deep work. Point for focus blocks. Use humor and self-talk. Reward progress with something childlike. Ice cream cartoon. Curiosity walks. Once a week, walk with no phone and ask what if questions about your field or life. Let wonder lead. Play anchor. Keep one playful object visible, toy, funny photo, music playlist. Touch/use it when grind feels heavy. Pillar 3. Emotional range mastery. Feel everything without losing direction. Unstoppable people don't numb negative emotions or chase constant highs. They expand their emotional range, allowing deep sadness, anger, fear, joy, awe, and love, without letting any single emotion dominate decisions. Mechanism. Emotional agility. Susan David. Feel fully, choose deliberately. Suppressing narrows range and creates leaks. Over-identifying creates paralysis. Mastery means full spectrum plus agency. Real example. Serena Williams lost matches, faced racism, dealt with injuries, but never let one emotion define her career. She felt rage, grief, joy, then channeled each in a next action. That range kept her dominant for 2 decades. How to force emotional range. Emotional naming and allowing. When strong feeling arises, name it. This is deep disappointment. Locate it in body. Allow it for 90 seconds without judging or acting on it. Emotional palette exercise. Weekly, journal one moment of each emotion: joy, anger, sadness, fear, awe, and how you used it productively. Range training. Listen to music, watch films, read stories that evoke strong feelings. Practice feeling them fully without escape. Decision separation. Rule: feel everything. Decide nothing until emotion peaks and subsides. Pillar 4. Joy as discipline. Choose lightness even when it's hard. Joy isn't automatic. Unstoppable people discipline themselves into it. They treat lightness as a performance skill, not a mood. Mental model. Joy is not the absence of difficulty. It's the presence of meaning plus deliberate lightness. Real example. The Dalai Lama maintains joy despite exile, loss of country, and constant threats. He says, choose to be happy. It is a skill. He practices joy meditation, finds humor in hardship, and focuses on service over suffering. How to force joy as discipline. Joy micro habits. Smile for 30 seconds, even forced, 3 times daily. Triggers serotonin. Daily delight hunt. Find 3 small beautiful things: sunrise, good coffee, laugh. Humor ritual. When stressed, watch 2 minutes of comedy or recall funniest memory. Joy accountability. Tell someone, hold me to staying light today. Celebration stack. After every win, micro or macro, do a 10-second victory dance or fist pump. Condition joy to progress. Chapter 8. The Unstoppable Lifetime. Integrating all systems into a permanent way of being. Welcome to the final chapter of The Psychology of Unstoppable People. You have now traveled the full arc. You've forged an identity that makes quitting incompatible with who you are. You've built emotional resilience that turns pain into power. You've engineered a momentum engine of micro-habits and daily proof that keeps motion alive even on empty days. You've mastered obstacle conversion, so every setback accelerates you. You've created a vision engine that pulls you forward with vivid, emotionally charged futures. You've expanded your thinking to legacy, impact that outlives you. And you've installed the joy engine to keep the journey vibrant, grateful, and human through decades of effort. This is not the end of the journey. It is the point where all these systems stop being separate practices and become one integrated way of being. The unstoppable life is not a checklist you complete. It is a permanent operating system you live inside. This chapter is about locking everything in for the long haul, making unstoppable not an occasional state, but your default mode of existence for the rest of your life. We'll cover the 4 final integration layers: daily system reviews, periodic deep resets, evolving identity, and the eternal why. These are the maintenance rituals, recalibration moments, growth mechanisms, and core anchor that keep the entire psychology alive, adaptive, and strengthening over years and decades. Layer 1. Daily system reviews, the 10-minute lock-in. Unstoppable people don't assume systems stay strong on their own. They audit and reinforce them daily. A 10-minute end-of-day review ensures nothing drifts, small wins compound, and misalignments are caught early. Standard daily review structure. Do every night before bed. Identity check. 1 minute, read your core, unstoppable identity statement aloud. Ask, did I live as this person today? Where did I fall short? Where did I exceed? Momentum chain. 1 minute, mark your micro commitments. If 0 day, reset immediately with double action tomorrow. Celebrate streak. Obstacle conversion. 2 minutes, list any setbacks / criticisms / pain from today. Run 1 quick conversion: rejection, courage, criticism, coaching, etc. Write the reframe. Vision pull. 2 minutes, read 1 vivid paragraph from your future self letter. Feel the emotions for 30 seconds. Ask, What one action tomorrow moves me closer? Joy and gratitude. 2 minutes. Name 3 gratitudes: past, present, future. Do one joy micro habit. Smile, delight, recall. Tomorrow's anchor. 2 minutes. Write 1 micro commitment. 1 purpose tie-in. This serves my legacy by, and 1 joy intention. Why it works. Daily micro reviews prevent drift, reinforce neural pathways, and keep all systems interconnected. Skip them and cracks form. Do them consistently and the whole machine self-corrects. How to force it. Use a dedicated notebook/app titled Unstoppable Lock-In. Set phone reminder for 9 p.m. or before bed. That if you miss a night, do double review next day. No excuses. Layer 2. Periodic deep resets, quarterly and annual realignments. Daily reviews maintain the system. Periodic resets upgrade it. Unstoppable people treat their psychology like software. Regular updates prevent obsolescence and install new capabilities. Quarterly reset. Every 3 months, 1 full day. Review all systems. Identity statement. Edit if evolved. Vision letter. Update details. Momentum log. Assess streaks. Obstacle journal. Patterns. Joy rituals. What still sparks? Deep reflection questions. What new belief do I need to install? Where has my joy dipped? How to restore? What legacy asset progressed? What's next? What one system is weakest? How to strengthen? End with 1 new commitment, e.g., new micro habit, grand gesture, play ritual. Annual reset, 1 to 2 week life sabbatical. Go somewhere quiet, cabin, retreat, solo travel. Full audit of past year. Wins, failures, lessons, growth. Rewrite vision for next 5 to 10 years. Make it bolder. Recommit publicly, letter to self, share with trusted circle. Perform 1 massive grand gesture, e.g., start legacy asset, extreme challenge. Real example. Benjamin Franklin's annual self-examination. 13 virtues checklist reviewed daily/weekly with quarterly deep reflection. He never stopped evolving. Layer 3. Evolving identity. Allow yourself to become more. Unstoppable identity is not static, it expands. As you grow, the old self-concept can become a ceiling. Unstoppable people allow periodic identity upgrades while keeping the core unbreakable. Signs it's time to evolve. Old goals feel too small. New values emerge, e.g., from achievement to contribution, that you've outgrown old limitations. How to force evolution. Identity upgrade ritual. Annual write old me believed versus new me believes. Add 1 bolder belief, e.g., I am unstoppable. I am a force that changes lives. Mentor mirror. Find someone 10 years ahead. Ask, who did you become that I need to become? Adopt 1 trait. Future identity bridge. Every quarter, ask future self, what do I need to believe now to become you? Install that belief. Layer 4. The eternal why, the anchor that never moves. At the center of everything is 1 unchanging question. Why do I refuse to stay average? Unstoppable people have a core why so deep it survives every storm, success, and life stage. Examples of eternal whys. To prove to my younger self that I could rise above. To give my children a different story than the one I grew up with. To leave the world better than I found it. Because settling would betray everything I've fought for. Your eternal why is personal. It must bring tears, fire, or quiet certainty when you say it aloud. How to force it. Eternal why statement. Write 1 sentence that answers why unstoppable. Keep it short, emotional, visceral, daily anchor. Say it aloud every morning after identity statement. Crisis anchor. When everything collapses, repeat it like a mantra until clarity returns. Your Chapter 8 Lifetime Integration Assignment. Lock it in forever. Create your 10-minute daily lock-in review template. Start using it tonight. Schedule your first quarterly reset. Pick a date in 3 months. Write your eternal why statement. Make it emotional and irreversible. Perform one identity upgrade. Add one bolder belief to your core statement. Commit to annual deep reset. Book a 3 to 7 day block now, even if far out. At week's end, journal. How does this full system feel integrated? What do I need to tighten? You're no longer learning to be unstoppable. You are unstoppable, and the systems are in place to keep you that way for life. The journey doesn't end here. It evolves. The identity deepens. The momentum compounds. The vision expands. The legacy grows. The joy sustains. Thank you for forcing yourself through every chapter, every assignment, every uncomfortable moment. The person who started this audiobook is already transformed. The person finishing it is unbreakable. You are unstoppable, not because life is easy, because you've built the psychology to make it irrelevant. Go live it. Go impact it. Go become legendary.